into the kingdom of heaven with that white dress. I love you, Kimmy. You saved my life. I'm freezing to death over there, and the cops try to publicly cause my death. Peter Kruczek. Thank God for you, Kimmy. You brought Rob Martin with your mother's blanket, and the city decided to take it and throw it in the garbage, saying that the blanket to keep someone warm and alive. Garbage. Kimmy, the days I was on the street and you were a 14-year-old Pia, you know what? But I always look out for you. Even though I couldn't be with you because you were on the age at that time, but also as a PIMP, there's no way I could be with you unless you paid me. You were with another crazy Kimmy. We together. I met 41 South Lawrence, and you acknowledge and remind me, that you were the beauty and I was the beast. And I was always concerned for you because you were in a terrible environment. You had a beautiful, wonderful woman. And you always, Kimmy, was always honest to me. My personal IG, because as my mother said, tell me anything about Kevin, but don't tell me it's steal. But the problem with Kevin is he loved others more than he loved himself. So I let my IG and all that go, but you always tell me. But it was God's will. When I found out on your death, Kevin, I'm telling you, it was hard to breathe. It was as hard as me as when those 8 cops threw me down on the lake shore across from the Gardner during rush hour. After I broke the law and handcuffed, shackled me, and used them saddled me, and the leg shackles ripped the flesh off my skin. And they said, they were just detaining me for concern for my mental state of mind because somebody who was in the label that they put on me should not have been making people happy, joyous, and loving one another. That's another story we'll tell. I heard it now, waking up in Tammy, my fingers are freezing as hell. But you see, Tammy, I love you dearly. I have to walk the walk. Thank God. His heart, His amazing power. Have me walk. I love you because of your pure heart. I don't know what else. I never die. But anyone who has acted bad, what there is to say about Kim Forsyth, aside from the fact that she had pure love. Creatures. She was strong. Kim, I know God will hit you and take you with her. And when I went back to 4175, building the environmental cleanup truck, houses and make it fit for people to live, grow, and for children to play and prosper. When I saw the RIP on your door. You realize that you were gone. I felt just as if those 8 cops broke the law and cuffed my hands and my legs to the rest of the guard, ran me across the garden on the shore, and sat on me. Then said the ambulance has a detour to another call. And I couldn't breathe. I said, you couldn't breathe. If you couldn't breathe, you couldn't talk. And then when I came out of Camp H and ended up back on the bridge after fake, unfit, and totally incompetent, and most likely have to be corrupt, because that incompetent couldn't have been in the police force for 22 years. Peter K-R-U-C-Z-E-K wrote the law and made false criminal charges, fabricated, and what he says was evidence. And when he comes right home, ordered me to die, threatened my animal. Then they sprayed security cameras and threw away all the documentation, and then I found out later on what he had was that and disappeared from the case. And the overseer on trial. The judge actually because they were just like, again. I would follow up on that later. Really, but you know, I can do. Also, like this, keep my mind open. I don't know if the police were involved in your death. And try to know that Peter cares. He said he cared in the job investigation. That they will just treat you like they're treating me. Our life doesn't matter. But you know, I'm so thankful to God. And as I made this video, I understand corruption in our homeless industry with their fake harm reduction, distributing crack pipes, needles, and meth pipes to people who are vulnerable because they didn't have a place to lay their head but the snow on the ground. And it reminds me of the story of who let the dogs out. Who else but the great dog catcher? Because he catched all the dogs because he was so good. But now he couldn't make no money because he had no dogs to catch. So he let them all out. So he'll get paid again to catch the dogs. And it's the same thing with my opponents represent my corporate opponents for the office of mayor. That they're on the media. Whether it's corrupt child or funny baloney toy or Brad, whatever you want to call them, Bradford or whoever. You know, it's like use of black crack pipes, use of meth pipes to those who are homeless. And rather than home, then you can always collect a lot more money for homelessness because they no longer focus on a place to lay their head to rest. They just focus on getting that fake eye because you give them the tools to go out and rob people or steal from stores or sell themselves, prostitute themselves just so they can get the dope to fill up the crack pipes. It's the meth pipes are for fentanyl that my opponents represent my corporate employment for the office of mayor control the media. Give to them. That's the environment they create. Competitions, media, and those who are self-serving, greedy, selfish, and self-righteous. They lie. Be careful, be safe. That's the God for one another. See, I died in the flesh, but the Holy Spirit resurrected in my soul. To God, His life goodness, be the glory. And to all the media, I'm going to show you the face of who your media rig candidates have to face for the office of mayor. Yes, that's me. You don't push me democratically. You're choosing to fix no Chinese to fix me. You will realize and restore the proper service of government back to the people. That's Kevin Clark campaign. But they're all here. Our social shame. Social shame.